Thank you for inviting me. Let's crack on because we have got a limited amount of time today, and I'm going to try and share as much as I possibly can in this 30 to 35 minutes that we've got. Now, the first thing I want to point out is, yeah, I mentioned to Laura, yeah, LinkedIn is not perceived as being social media, mainly because followers and impressions and many other things don't really count on LinkedIn. But it is definitely a personal, professional platform. Now, I know that many of you will have an education page, and yes, you definitely need one. And one resource I've already offered is for those poor schools that found themselves locked out of their education page because the previous person that had the login details has left. I've got a way of getting around it. Okay, I can send the information to Laura and she can pass it on. Also, if you haven't set up an education page, let Laura know. And again, I can give you some information on how to do it. But it's really about the personal side of it. It's most effective because it's always set up to be a personal professional profile. In fact, the company and education pages were about 7 or 8 years later coming on board from the original launch. So let's crack on with it. Let's get it in, get some facts and figures in for you. This is what I was asked to cover by Alicia. SSI score, I'll tell you why I think you shouldn't have to worry about it. I know it's a hot topic apparently, but actually it's absolutely very, very poor metric to use. We'll look at where people find you in searches, etc., how the school can use it. Posting times and content, really, really important. And also, yeah, the value of commenting and how you can use that to spread your message. Just a very quick one, just to show you some of the metrics that come out of LinkedIn and are very impressive, 43 million people, but actually it's a lie because there are only 43.5 million people between the ages of 16 and 64 in this country, and that means they're all on LinkedIn. They're not. It refers to the number of people that joined since they started back in 2003. Okay, so it's been around, 23 years this year. So the SSI score, this is what it looks like when you go and look at it. And this is mine from yesterday, okay? I'm a LinkedIn expert. I'm globally ranked for what I do, but I've got an SSI score of 70, which means, ooh, that is a very good, although I'm in the top 1% here and the 4% here. Why not higher? And I have been up as high as 83. Now, that's the highest I can get, 83, because LinkedIn have been a bit sneaky. And they've got all the breakdowns here of how you can increase it, etc. But unless you buy Sales Navigator, which is going to cost you a pretty penny every month, you're never going to get the last 16.5%. So it's a bit of a false one. Also, yeah, I'm an expert. You need to consider the word context. I don't particularly chase the metrics on here, therefore, and I say to people, once you got to 70, it's okay. I'm not worried about it. In fact, I don't even bother with it unless someone brings it up to say it. But I was asked to talk about it in this session. A far better metric is when you look at your own profiles, scroll down to the analytics, and this one over here.
And into a webinar.
174 search appearances. Again, this is information that was correct as of last Thursday because they update it every Thursday. When you click onto that, it opens up a brand new page and gives you whole lots of metrics about the types of people that are looking, that put you in the search, that found you, the companies that did it, etc. But also, it's over a 7-day week, 5 working days. So therefore, 35 people found me searches every day last week in a really quiet time because the start of January is quite quiet. That for me is something I'll look at and also look at the breakdown of who they are, what roles they have, etc. That's the metric I use, and it will go up and down, but it gives me a barometer of how I'm doing and how my profile is doing on the website, rather than looking at my SSI score and realize it hasn't moved. In fact, mine's dropped to 70 for no reason whatsoever. So let's get rid of that one first. Quickly, also, we need to understand that it is a website, but it's also a very large database. LinkedIn claim 1.33 billion people on LinkedIn. Again, not strictly true, but it's very, very large. But as it's a database, we also need to consider keywords both ways round. We need to consider keywords for us doing the searching when we're looking for people, but also when we're being found in searches, okay? It's very important. And I always tell people, do some work around keywords, because if you're using very generic keywords, then guess how many people are being found in the search? Yeah, an increasingly larger number of people. You need to be a lot more specific around what those keywords are. But don't forget, it is a database. We also need to look at this. Attention spans, they are tumbling. Um, I did this talk a few years ago called the 7 second syndrome. Actually, I have to now say that it's a lie, because it's less than that. Also, Forbes say that people can make up their mind in less than half a second. And if you're dealing with Gen Zers, I work in schools, obviously, it's about 1.7 seconds. It's the initial attention span, so you need to grab people really quickly. What are they looking for in those 7 seconds? Well, very quickly, what we got here is maybe they found you in a search, which is good. If you're coming up in searches, that's good. That's why the search appearance number is quite useful. They've only got 7 seconds, and they're not going to scroll. And they're probably actually on their mobile as well. So I only see three key elements. The banner that sits right across, and we will go live and show some of these as well. They show your profile picture, which I call a headshot. And again, I'll explain why I've called it that. And the headline that sits underneath your name. Those are the three main areas that they can see. If you've engaged them, they might scroll down to see the rest of your profile. If you haven't, then they're off somewhere else. So within 7 seconds, you could have completely lost the game. So it's very important to understand that initial engagement. You also need to understand that you need to optimize your profile. So I can't go into too much details here. Activities, yes, we will talk about posting and the commenting that I've been asked to. But as I say, also don't forget it is a search engine as well. So get the top of your profile engaging. Yeah, absolutely. That's the banner, sits right across the top. Okay. For me, because people are visually orientated, about 70% of people are visually orientated, it's very important that is the first thing they probably see. And therefore, what they're looking for, quite simply, is what is it you do and how do you go about it? That's the two criteria they're mainly looking at. So all the rest of it is a bit fluffy. Also, ensure that it works on your mobile phone, because if they're using mobiles and you've got tiny little text on here, they won't be able to read it, or you've got some information that's hidden behind your headshot. So that really, really is very important. Yeah, your headshot, I call it headshot because mobile phones, if you've got the whole of your body in the shot, people won't be able to see you clearly on the mobile. Eyes are for trust. So if they can't see the whites of your eyes, then yeah, trust is dissipating quickly. Pronouns. Now, I'll very quickly talk about pronouns. It's done on the app. There is a custom version at the bottom, so you can call yourself what you want, as well as the standard ones. I'm an educator and speaker. That's for I put in on the pronouns. Also, behind my name, there is a loudspeaker. It's a name pronunciation thing. Again, done on the app. They allow 10 seconds. So be creative. Don't just say your name. Tell people a bit more about what it is that you do. Your headline, probably most important. It's 220 characters. And at this point, now these words on the banner cannot be read by bots. They're still images. They're not real words, but these are, they can. So the humans and the bots can read this. This is key information. This is the last bit before they decide whether they're going to scroll away or stay and have a look down further. You need to look at it. You can finesse it. You can change it. And actually, people go, oh, I've set up my LinkedIn profile and leave it. No, 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 no. The more you're on it, the more LinkedIn know you're on it, the better it's going to be for you. So finessing, tinkering, whatever you want to call it, is really useful. There are some action buttons, etc. We're not going to go into that in too much detail here. But yeah, ensure your banner tells your story. And what we will do is we're going to go live in a little bit and show you what mine looks like currently and tell you why I've set it up. But this is what you get when you first start. What is that telling the person that's viewing? Nothing is the answer to that one. So yeah, that's not a great place. And it's the same, the banner on your education page. That needs, again, to portray what it is about the school, maybe the school logo. Yeah, professional headshots only, professional looking. You haven't got to go and spend a fortune getting them done, but don't do things like this where people are trying to be creative. because that you won't see properly on a phone. You certainly can't see his eyes. This person was trying to be clever. They were a mobile communications expert, but it's not showing the person's face. We need to see what they look like. They're not interested in this. And people that run company pages in the personal profiles, again, are completely getting it wrong. Your headline, yeah, it's not your job title. Okay, so these are examples of what we used to have back in the 2000s, because you could only do that. The character count was less back in those days. But again, it's changed and we need to realize it. Optimize your profile, especially your about section. So if we can get them to look at our top card, which is the banner, the headshot, and the headline, and choose to scroll down, the first thing that they're going to see is your about section. It's the one they probably will, first time they visit you, will probably be the only thing they do look at. So it's very, very important. It needs to tell people what it is that you do, how you go about it. But the first 4 lines are very, 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 very important, because at the end of them was a little ... see more. Well, unless they push the little ... see more, they're not going to see the rest of it. Therefore, we need to make sure those first 4 lines are engaging. Bad examples, yeah. Talking about yourself rather than not considering your viewer. Your profile is not just for you. In fact, it's probably not really for you at all. It's for the viewer. They need to know what you do, how you go about it. You need to be talking to them, including them. They need a reason to push to see more. And if you just go, I do this, I do that, possibly they might not bother. Okay. Your about section then must inform. Once it drops down, we need to make sure there's 2,600 characters. We put lots of information in there which is useful to the viewer to make a decision to engage with us at the end of it. LinkedIn is an engagement platform. We order the sections, but also use keywords. Yeah, we need to look at that. So we need to go live. Let's come out of here. Take that down there and go into my profile and show you what I mean by what I've said. So this is my current profile. We are absolutely live here. Yes, I'm a premium member. I get the fancy carousel at the top, but we need to worry about that. What my banner says is what I am. And yes, on different pages, it shows you what I do. If it was a single page, it would be down here telling people what I do. I've deliberately avoided my headshot because it's bigger on the app, and therefore it could hide stuff. Also, you need to check and make sure that font is not too small that you can't read it. Okay, most important. There's my name. There's my name pronunciation, and there is the pronouns, which I'm saying I'm using an educator and speaker. That's the headline. Have a few ideas, mix it up, maybe ask questions in there, put some credibility in there, because as I say, this whole thing here, 5 to 10 seconds of their attention, they need to scroll down. We want them to scroll down. That's essential that they scroll down at the end of it. So this information is really important. I put some questions in there, I put credibility statements, etc. in there. Once they can't see that, that's analytics, that's where my search appearances are. But this is the about section, probably the most important section on LinkedIn for you as an individual. And say, really, that's the most important part. We need to get all the advocates within the school to make sure that they understand how important this particular section is. As I said before, it has got the see more, which is at the end of the 4th line, and therefore we want them to open that. So I'm asking questions, is your profile, etc., etc., because I want them to do that. I want them to open it up. Now, again, a bit like social media, we can use things in small, short paragraphs. I could put the whole of my about section together in basically 3 paragraphs, I'm told by professional copywriters. It's too much. They take information in short, sharp bites. So yeah, lots of white space. There's 2,600 characters in here, but it's telling the viewer a bit about what I do. I'm using some icons, really just to highlight things. I'm using capitalization, which is pretty bad English, but there are very few editing features within LinkedIn. I'm using statistics as well in there, which people love. So you can talk about, any successful statistics the school has, etc. And then bullet points, very much bullet points. People speed read and bullet points will stop them. So inserting bullet points into your profile is really, really important. Going to briefly touch on why I put a testimonial in my about section. LinkedIn has its own social proof, which is called recommendations, and it's way down the bottom. It's a long scroll. Most people won't go there, certainly not on the first visit. But, for you and the school, social proof is important. It's important for businesses. It's important for schools. It's important for everybody, as far as I'm concerned. So, yeah, you put in there, cut and paste in a testimonial from a happy parent, anything like that. It gives the school the social proof. It gives you the social proof, because the most of your about section is you telling people what you do and how you go about it. And they could go, so what, at the end of it. I don't believe it, etc. I got my services and benefits in there. Again, this is a great place to highlight those things for the school and the individual person. Now, the bottom bit, most of the stuff I talk about is under my banner, consider. Everything I've spoken about so far is consider. I'm not saying you fail miserably if you don't do it, okay? But I think you might fail if you don't put a call to action at the bottom of your about section. I don't care how long it is, but at the bottom, they've read it. They're interested in you. They're interested in the school. Whatever it is you're putting through on your about section, they want to reach out to you. Don't make them go looking for the information, because most people's don't even have their email addresses in their contact details, and often they're wrong as well. So just tell them what is it you want to do and how to go about it. So I've got it in there, highlighted it, put it in capitals. Anyone in the world can email me. The biggest mistake people make is, connect or DM me on LinkedIn. You've excluded about 98% of LinkedIn when you do that, because of the first, second, and third line connection tiers that they use. Okay, so don't do it. It's not worth it. Right, let's go back in to the slideshow and crack on. Why is it gone from the beginning? Oh, that's good. I pushed it. Come out. Okay, so in LinkedIn, it's made up of lots of different sections. We looked at it about, which is, let's say, most important, but there are many others. You can add them at the top of your profile. There's an add profile section button. When you go in there, what it will do, so we'll start from here. It gives you options. The options, why is it doing this to me? No, excuse me. For some reason, this is not playing ball. Okay, so slideshow, current slide. Okay, right. When you go into it, it has options. You've got the core stuff, which you'll probably have already, but there are other sections. There's recommended stuff in there that you can put in there. Courses and projects, really useful. Any licenses and certification that you've got to do your job, also nice to add it in there. And then there are other bits down the bottom, the additional bits, but they all help give some volume to your profile. Okay, so they're definitely worth looking at. Now, activities, yes, one area of LinkedIn that people really do struggle with. Not too sure what happens when you push that post button and what you should be doing and how often you should be doing it, etc. I say, you need to be active or you will fade away in people's memories, etc. You need to be constantly, but how constant is kind of down to you. There are some rules in the background that LinkedIn play by, which I'll let you know of. When I'm saying being active, yeah, posts is the most common thing that people do. And we'll talk about that. There are also articles you can write, a bit more of a positioning document. Don't need to do them nowhere near as often. You can work in groups. Now, a lot of people don't really think about groups on LinkedIn. Again, haven't got time in here to discuss them, but go and have a look at some of the groups you could join, etc. But the last one's really important. Interact with your feed. Okay, that homepage you have, you're not going to be posting every day. You're going to be posting wherever suits you. The only thing I would say is that LinkedIn like you to post reasonably consistently. When I say that, they kind of want you to post at least once every 3 weeks, or they start to get a little bit petty and start reducing your reach. So on the other days, you're going to interact with your feed. You can go and see what other people are saying. You can make those likes, comments, etc., etc. Now, comment is by far the most important thing that you can do on a post. It's the most important thing that can be done to your post. So it's always worthwhile when you do a post to give it a nice strong ending and a call to action. Ask people a question. Don't just give them lots of information and then leave it at that and let them decide what they're going to do. Love your opinion on this. How would you handle this situation, etc. Those sort of questions will get them to comment. Now, when someone comments on your post, LinkedIn give it reach. So they will send it out to other people. If someone comments on your post, as the author, LinkedIn will send it to about 16 to 17 other people. So you're now getting more reach for your post. But also when you comment on other people's posts, as the commentee, you also get about 10 extra reaches for your comment on their post. So it's really good to get people, and therefore, as a school and having a group review of advocates, etc. So whether that's, could be the alumni, could be volunteers, it could be staff, etc. Is getting people to understand that when people post, not just from the education page, but from the individual pages of the people involved, getting involved and making those comments helps both parties, both the person that's posted it, but also the person that's making the comment. I can't underline that enough. Yes, you can repost stuff, and absolutely, if your school puts out a post, certainly repost it. I'm very much in favor of reposting with thoughts, which is one of the two options you have. It doesn't matter if you don't, but obviously it's adding a bit of value to it for you as an individual. But if you're just promoting something for the school, then just reposting it is absolutely fine. But commenting really, really, really is very, very important. Times. Again, it really depends. You've got some gurus out there who do lots of reporting and tell you that actually you should be doing this, you should be doing that. And they say that the best days of the week to post are Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And I'm not going to argue with that. Mondays, we're starting the week. Friday, we're trying to sort the week out and get away. So they are the best days. But they then say that mid-morning is good. Well, brilliant. It's great for them that they do all the reporting and all the research. But we need to consider when our audience will consume. So if I post and I want you as a school to read it, if I post at 10 o'clock like the gurus tell me, hopefully you're in the classroom teaching the students. You're not going to see it. And the important thing is that LinkedIn score every post 1 hour after it's posted. So if I post at 10, LinkedIn look at it at 11 o'clock and go, hey, Tony's got this amount of engagement. Well, if no one's seeing it and engaging with it, then therefore the likelihood I'm not going to get a great deal. And then LinkedIn won't promote it further. If you get a decent amount of engagement because you sent it out at the right time for your audience, then LinkedIn will help promote it by giving it more reach. So times of day are quite crucial. It could be, if you're looking at maybe getting the parents involved, you do it early evening when they're back from work, etc., or maybe first thing on the way into work. Just it takes a bit of beta testing, trying one in the afternoon and trying one in the afternoon, seeing which gets the best kind of response. Content. Now, I just had a little post conversation with a gentleman on LinkedIn. You've got 3,000 characters in your post that you can use. It's about 2 minutes and 20 seconds read. It's too long. People do not spend time doing it. So we need to consider maybe about a minute's read, a minute and a quarter, something like that. Content, yeah. Quality. I use 4 words. Quality, yeah. Don't post just because you think you've got to, all right, because it could count against you. Be consistent, but that's down to you. You know, if you only can really do one every 3 weeks, then absolutely do it. If you can do more, it's only going to help your cause. Informational. Yeah, the LinkedIn is running LinkedIn runs more than one algorithm. Okay, you might hear lots of people talk about the LinkedIn algorithm. Absolute fantasy. There's about 20 of them. One of the biggest ones at the moment in time is saying that it's all about you as an expert. So if you are posting about your area of expertise, therefore LinkedIn tick the box. Okay, they look back at your profile and go, "Oh, Tony's posting about LinkedIn. He's a LinkedIn expert, therefore that's absolutely fine." Oh, wait a second, Tony's posting about wellness. He's got nothing to do with it, which is what all the influencers are doing, getting on the latest bandwagon. LinkedIn are now stopping that. Okay, so stay in your lane of genius. I say to people, talk about what it is you're good at, and therefore LinkedIn will help promote it. But also, yeah, make it discussionable. Have that question at the end of it. Have that call to action. They've read it. What do you want to do next? Okay. And the value in the commenting, yeah, absolutely. It can massively improve your reach by getting involved in it. Okay, search. We probably won't go into that too much detail because I realize what the time is. There are other things we can look at. But there, at the top, let's go and have a look at the education page and a quick look at the posting, etc. live. So we'll come out of that and we're going to mine again very quickly. So yeah, when I post, mix it up. Okay, so you've got different types of posts you can do. LinkedIn very much likes you to mix up your content, not just keep doing the same sort of post. Branding is a good idea, absolutely. Yes, if you can put some branding on it, LinkedIn like it. If you're brave enough to do video, again, it goes down really, really well. It hasn't not got to be studio quality. You haven't got to pay someone lots of money to do it. They're more worried about what you're saying. So the content is the crucial thing here on that side of things. But, you know, I post regularly because it's my job to do so. But I brand it and, you know, I have call to actions at the end of mine. And I get people engaged. And it's that engagement's really important to say, you know, the more decent quality stuff you put out there that your audience appreciates and engages with, better it's going to be for you. Okay. But you can, when you go into that homepage and you have at the top about starting a post, yeah, in there, yes, 3,000 characters. You can add emojis to it. Not a great fan, in fact, nor LinkedIn. They give them to you really because they think they got to. Don't overuse them. Two other things that people talk about in posts: hashtags, completely irrelevant on LinkedIn now. The algorithm do not even look at them. But if you're using hashtags on a regular basis across the whole board of what you do, it's probably a good idea to maintain them on LinkedIn. Now, the biggest one I get asked about is, oh, we want to put a web link, a URL. What we hear, LinkedIn don't like people putting that in there because it takes people away from their platform. But that's actually true. But the trouble is people have found this hack that the gurus have been talking about, which says, you know, for web link, please see first comment below. And they go down and they start a comment and they put the web link in there and I think brilliant, they've done it. Well, LinkedIn have changed the rules. And what happens is that LinkedIn will not give you every single comment and interaction for that post. They have a little drop-down menu which says the most recent or the most relevant. Guarantee that first comment will drop out of there pretty damn quick. So you're asking people to look at a comment they can't actually see. If you've got one URL, you want to point them at, maybe a page on the school website, etc., stick it actually in the post. Okay. But you've got options as well. People are visually orientated. Yeah, you can add media. When it says add media, we're talking about could use images, you could use videoing, etc., etc. Top tip: this here is called a document. Again, LinkedIn will say, where is this document? Documents do really, really well. If you can turn them into a carousel, which very quickly, if you produce a I've got a PowerPoint I'm showing you. If I were to do a PowerPoint slide deck of about 7 slides and then save it as a PDF and then put it out as a post, it does really, really well because people have got to go through the slides to look at it, the information. they're on your post longer, and therefore LinkedIn knows they are, which means LinkedIn think they're interested in it, which means they give it more reach. It's been consistently the best ranked post for quite a while, but also mix it up, as I said before. And then, yeah, consider what you're putting out there and how often you're doing it. It has to be down to you, what you want to do on that particular front. Now, the company page, if you haven't got one, from the top for business, create a company page. When you go into it, it will say educational institutions, and then you go into that, and it's all templated. I'm not going to teach grandma to suck eggs here. It's all pretty straightforward. It's one thing I like about LinkedIn. The templates are really easy to use. Now, if you have got a education page, and unfortunately the person's left and forgot to give it to you, I will give you the information about how to get it back. Quickly show you mine. Mine's a company page because I'm not a school. They're very, very similar. Okay. The only thing that you have is the alumni side of things. And of course, your students, they put the school in there and then you form a company page. They then become part of the alumni, etc. As long as they spell it correctly and they've worded it correctly. Obviously, if it doesn't quite line up, they won't do. But in your dashboard, when you do it, there are lots of things that you can get involved in on LinkedIn, company pages. Absolutely, you can create posts, etc. You can create events, but be aware that when you create a post on LinkedIn's company or education pages, they do not send it to many people. So as an individual, when you post on LinkedIn, they send it to about 8 to 10% of your connections. Okay. When they send it out from a company stroke education page, it's about 1.7%. So that's based on the number of followers you've got, So I've got 517 followers. So when I post on LinkedIn, I'm not getting a massive amount of people see it. Therefore, I will then go and support it myself as I'm part of the company. This is where when you post from the education page, you need to get all your advocates in the school to come along and join in and promote it, etc. Or it will just wither and die and just disappear into the distance. That's just unfortunate. That's the way it works. LinkedIn prioritizes, as it always has done, that it is actually a personal, professional platform. I've got some resources I can give you on that front, absolutely. And realistically, I think that's about the half an hour. I've rushed through it really, really quickly. Let's stop sharing. I don't want to eat into people's time. Stop sharing. And I'll say, I did rattle through that. There's lots of information in there. I believe it has been recorded. As I say, I have got some resources which I can supply through to Lara and Alicia that you can be passed on to. And again, we probably run out of time for questions. I'm happy to answer any questions that you send to the Independent Schools Portal. They will send it to me. I will get you the answers to your questions. Just check the chat to make sure is there anything in there that I can answer straight away. Yeah.
Quick one, which was, would you recommend that schools set up as a profile, as in a person profile, but under the school's name,
No,
or as an
no,
educational page?
No, it breaks the rules of LinkedIn. Do not do it. Very simple one, that one to answer. No, your personal profile is for your person. Don't set. People do it for companies, and LinkedIn are taking them down because they've broken the rules. You need to set up an education page. It isn't hard. It looks big and it looks lots of information, but once you set it up, as I say, I would always you have the super admin, the person that sets it up. Make sure you've got other admin people as well. Don't just leave it in one person's hands, please, because that's when the problems start to happen.
Yeah, I definitely second that. I've had lots of issues when I've worked with clients trying to get them back into access. But thank you very much, Tony. I really appreciate that. That was really helpful. For those of you that have asked for extra resources, I'll get those from Tony and get those over to you. And if you have any other questions that haven't been covered, if you'd like to email Alicia at independentschoolsportal.org or myself, Laura at sparkmarketing.com, we'll get that sorted for you. Have a lovely day, everyone.